Mm-mm. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's episode of the Money and Mindset podcast. I am Sheryka Alford, and she is.
Anntricia Bray-Smith.
And we are here to provide motivation to get out of debt, build wealth, and transform your outlook towards life. Today, we're going to talk about 7 ways to improve your financial health. Dealing with finances goes beyond bringing home money. It also involves healthy habits and behaviors and also protecting your assets. So, Anntricia, would you like to start us off with number one? How can we improve our financial health?
Well, first of all, speaking of them assets, some of us may or may not know what an asset is. So let's just make that plain for you guys that are out there. What is an asset? Because I got an opinion of what I think an asset is, but hey, so let's just break it down. What is an asset? What does an asset look like?
So, an asset is something that has value. Now, I don't mean sentimental value because now, we have a lot of things around our house that means something to us emotionally, but and so we may have things around our home that mean something to us that have sentimental value, but not necessarily monetary value. So whenever you think about assets, think of something along the line that has value from a monetary and or financial standpoint. So does that clear that up for us all?
It does, and just so that we're plain, just so that we're clear, that does not include vehicles. Uh, Correct? That does not
Well,
include a car. So I need to understand because I've always been um, taught or always understood that a vehicle depreciates in value, and so therefore it's more of a liability than an asset. So um,
yes, you are correct. For the most part, I would venture to say that the majority of us, our vehicles are liabilities and not assets. Now, you do have some people that have classic, like really nice, actual classic cars. I don't mean, when I say classic, I don't mean like a hoopty or it's just old, but you get the gist of it. But for the most part, yes, vehicles are liabilities. And as soon as you drive it off the lot, the value it depreciates.
absolutely, yeah. So you're talking more of the show cars, the uh, that you could potentially refurbish, redo, and really have something that adds potential value.
Right. If you could
Okay.
sell it and you make profit, and when I mean profit, I mean you recap any monies that you paid out towards building it or purchase and work put into it, then if that be the case, then yes, in that case, it's an asset.
All right. Thanks for clarifying that, because I know some of our culture, our community, we have the cars. you know, we're living in the projects and everything else, and we have the cars and the rims and everything laid out. And to us, that could, we can kind of look at that as being an asset, but that's not the kind of asset that we're talking about today. We're talking more about real estate and some other things that hold value.
Yes.
So, nonetheless, guys, let's just get into it today. We're talking about 7 ways to improve your financial health. 7 ways to improve financial health. And, guys, I know that we can all use that. I mean, as much progress as I feel like I have made, there are still areas in which I struggle, absolutely. And so, these tips are not only for you and pointed and directed at you, but it is for us as well. So,
Absolutely.
the first tip: practice gratitude. Practice
Yes.
gratitude. So, woo, that one can hit me, can hit me in my mindset and my money. Okay, so practice gratitude. How do I do that mentally? Practice gratitude when I got nickels and dimes coming in, and I have dollars and bills that are stacking up, and it's not matching up to that sense that I have. How do I practice gratitude when it
Yes.
comes to financial health?
Yes, that's a great question. And a lot of it, first off, it starts with a shift in your focus. Now, I do understand we all have things going on in our lives. We all have different income, we all have different obligations. I mean, there's just, especially in 2020, there's to say that there's a lot of going on in everybody's lives, that's an understatement. But regardless of all the seemingly negative things that are going on around us, if we take the time to really focus on shifting our thought process and shifting it away from the things that we don't have control over and away from what we don't have, and try to focus on the people that we have in our lives and the things that we have and be thankful for that. Now, that's not to say that we don't want to continue to strive for improvement. However, we want to be thankful and not overlook the blessings that we have here in front of us, despite all the other obligations that are going on around us.
Oh yeah, I can see this is getting ready to hit some of us as single parents. It's getting ready. Well, not only single parents, but I know some of you other ones are feeling the pressure as well. But just to empathize and to relate to the single parent out there, it's already been a hard year.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're looking at the holidays, and where we're used to being able to give and give freely, and uh, provide a little extra for our little ones. Uh, this year is going to look a little different. And so we need to find that spirit of gratitude early so
Mm-hmm.
that we're not so uh, emotionally drawn or withdrawn, so to speak, as it comes up on the holiday spirit, holiday season. So,
Right. And
yeah.
kids pick up on that. I mean, as a parent myself, I have two teenagers. I feel like, of course, I guess I try to have the Pollyanna syndrome. It's like, despite everything, let's try to find where we can have a silver lining and where we can find a lesson. And, you know, here's an opportunity to be creative. Maybe challenge, because, kids, they're into these electronics, their imagination. Back in our day, we'd go outside and play games. We'd have great imagination. But here's a time to allow them to be creative. Instead of focusing on things to purchase, maybe present to the family, say, hey, this year, let's look around the house and see what we can find and come up with a creative way to present that as a gift to each other. Maybe, or even write a poem, challenge them to come up with a song, just anything. This is an opportunity to where we can kind of stretch beyond what we're accustomed to, because, we are living in a new norm. And at least that way, that's a way that you can maybe have fun with them.
Oh yeah, finding something with little financial
Hmm.
obligation toward it. I think that's awesome. That's also some hint for these business owners out here. Sometimes we like to buy gifts and share gifts and exchange gifts and stuff like that during the holiday as well. So, nonetheless, guys, let's just practice the spirit of gratitude as it relates to our finances. Let's be grateful for that we have coming in, um, and you know, just be grateful, because what we have, as much or as little as it seems, some people don't have that, and
Right.
certainly don't have it to do with it as much as it has provided for our families, and for where we are right now. Uh, Nonetheless, guys, we made it this far.
Yes.
I don't see uh, anything externally changing soon, but we can change internally,
Hmm.
and being able to apply that gratitude, and just find things that don't require a lot of financial obligations along the way.
Yes, let's be creative. Use
Uh,
imaginations and creativity.
Absolutely. So, 7 ways to improve your financial health today is what we're talking about. We've just said practice gratitude. Now it's get organized and pay your bills on time.
Yes, so we want to get organized. And one part of that is opening our mail in a timely fashion, and and paying the bills on time,
Yeah,
because
we talked
sometimes
about that in a previous broadcast,
we
about opening
did.
that up and creating a plan. So hopefully you guys have followed through with those steps and not just listen. Let's apply and implement the things that we're doing because, we're, like I said, we're discussing this in real time. This is not something that we have everything all together and we're just coming here to tell you what to do. No, we're sharing with you some of the practices that we're actually implement in our own lives so that we can make the shift in our money and mindset. Okay, guys. So, yeah, get organized, pay those bills on time.
Yes, and also your emails. Now, a lot of times when you go to the store, the cashier, they'll look at you and they'll smile and say, "Hey, you'll get an extra 5% off or 10% off if you subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll send you coupons and all the things." And you say, "Well, sure." Well, let's start unsubscribing to some of that mail that comes in, because what happens is you may get a coupon or several coupons for something that, we really don't need, but because we see the coupon and we're sponges, it soaks up in our mind. Next thing you know, you're in the store just because you have a coupon. Let's start unsubscribing to some of those emails that come through. And also, as far as getting organized in our surroundings. I'm about to tell off on myself. I will admit there have been times where, because I have not been organized, didn't have the kitchen organized and cleaned like I should have as far as my spice area is concerned. And yes, I have purchased a couple things of pepper extra that I didn't need. Other spices. So when I go in and organize the spice drawer, it's like, well, why do I have three different garlic powders? So, getting organized, it helps us prevent double or maybe triple buying things that we
Absolutely.
don't need to.
Especially things that we don't use very often.
Mhm.
Um, and guys, let's look at this bill side of this. Um, Many of you, like me, because I'm not in this alone, have unnecessary bills. Unnecessary bills. Why do we do this to ourselves? We work hard for our money
Mhm.
only to give it away to somebody else when we get a paycheck. Why do we do our Let's look at what we have. All these bills we have coming in. Yes, we're going to pay them all. We're going to pay them on time, but we're also going to pay them off, hopefully, and try to figure out which ones we can eliminate from the bill pile. Okay?
Mhm.
So we want to control some of our money, and we don't want to be strung along anymore,
Right.
paying for things that serve us no value or overspending for things unnecessarily. So that may
Mhm.
mean going to look for another phone plan for you and your family. That also may mean um, eliminating some cable bills, whatever that looks like. Let's begin to get that on our heads, in our minds right now as we're getting organized and paying bills on time. The next time you're writing those bills out or getting ready to click online for that auto pay, car insurances and all that, hey, let's start thinking about which of these bills we can eliminate.
Right. Mhm.
So get organized, pay the bills on time, practice gratitude. And number three,
Pull your credit report.
some of us don't want to look at that credit report. Now, let's
No,
just be honest.
but it's for our own good. It's a part of the process. It is a part of the process. And you can get a free copy of your credit report from all three of the credit agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, by going to www.annualcreditreport.com, and we'll include that in the notes section. Also, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they're offering free weekly online reports through April of 2021. So normally,
Awesome. I didn't know that. I know I had
yes,
pulled one up a couple months ago, but I did not know. So that's some good information right there.
yes. See, normally you are allowed a free credit report once a year. So you could go to the annualcreditreport.com and you could either pull all three at once, or like me, I stagger mine. Like
Hmm.
the first quarter of the year, I may pull a report from one agency, the second quarter, the second one, the third one. I have a reminder set up on my calendar on my phone.
Okay.
So it pops up to remind me to pull my credit reports. And reason being, this serves a few purposes. One, yes, it does help us in our efforts to prioritize our debt payoff, but also it's a way for you to check to make sure that someone has not gone in and opened up accounts under your name that you have, that you're not aware of. And also another reason is sometimes companies make mistakes. There was a company once that sent me to collections, but I never got a bill from them. And had I not opened the mail, hint, hint, the day that it came in for me to address it quickly, then, that could have had an impact on my credit report. But so the reasons for checking your credit report on a regular basis is to help prioritize your debt payoff, to help identify fraudulent activity as far as you're concerned, and also to help make sure the company's lien holders have not made a mistake and reported something erroneously on your report.
Absolutely. I tell you what, speaking on the mindset side of checking that credit report, it is a motivator.
Hmm.
Guys, I talked to my husband. Uh, it's just like preaching to the choir about these bills we got coming in, and about these debts, and about the credit score, and all that. Do you know, as much as I preached and hound to that man, to no avail? It wasn't until I started showing him his credit I started putting that credit report in front of
Hmm.
his face that he got motivated and
All
excited
right.
when he was seeing those numbers go up, and then he go it with an old habit and that score go down. He be like, well, yeah, so that made him real conscious. He loved to see them numbers go up. He loved it.
Yes.
And so every week he was just like, let me see my credit score, to the point that where it started getting on my nerve. Okay, let's be like, no, you getting on my nerve now with this. But hey, it's motivating. It's motivating, and it holds them accountable. It holds us accountable.
Mm.
And so he's independent with it now. He can knock himself out now, but he always wants to know what his credit credit every week, like clockwork. He's looking to see where he's made the good choices, and how it increases his score, and how if he made a not so good choice or forgot to pay a bill or something, how it impacts him. So that's his motivating piece. So think about that, guys. Pull that credit report, look at that credit score, and let's be intentional about making and adopting great or better financial habits. So that's what it's
Right.
all about. So not only pull the credit report, get organized with those bills and pay them on time, practice gratitude with the financial resources that we have coming in, and then prioritize debt payoff and pay more than the minimum balance. Oh my goodness, you just opened up a can of worms with this tip. Prioritize debt payoff and pay more than some of us minimum balance. It's all we can afford. So talk to us about that, girl.
So it just goes back to, yes, I did mention with the pulling of the credit report. So by looking at the credit report, it shows you your obligations, things that you need to be working on paying off. And once you have that lined up, you want to make the determination of which of these do I want to tackle first. So
None of them. Let's
no, that's not what we do. We want to tackle them because we want to get these things paid off and out of our
absolutely,
hair. So yes, we do.
absolutely.
Now, there, some people have different frames of thought processes as to which debts that they choose to pay off first. There are some that pay off the debt that has the lowest balance. There are some that choose to pay off the debt that has the lowest interest, that charges you the lowest interest because the overall savings on the money side is that, but you're more motivated if you pay off the one with the lowest balance because you build that momentum. Now, a third one, basically, the third one does not take into account the balance nor the interest. It just takes into account the terms and how much of a headache it is for you.
Okay.
Um, for example, like me, I took out a loan against my 401k a few years back, which, a lot of people are like, oh, don't do that. Well, for me, it made sense due to all the circumstances. And so, even though that particular loan did not have the highest interest rate, I chose to go ahead and pay that off, nor did it have the lowest balance, but I wanted to pay that off for the increased peace of mind. So it just depends.
Okay. Yeah, well, the way I've tackled my debt is that um, I started with the lowest balance
Hmm.
because paying bills and paying them on time and not having these debts was something new for me. I had a poverty mindset. I had always lived in poverty. And so I knew that there was something different to life. And I always used an excuse that I just don't have enough income. Well, I quickly realized that my income is going to be what it's going to be, and it's up to me what I do with it. But I
Right.
am obligated for the debt that I have accumulated over the years. So I began by just starting with the smallest one.
Hmm.
And so I start with the smallest one, and on everything else, I was paying minimum on what I could get by with until I began to tackle some of those small ones, get them paid off, and then I could apply that money to some of the other bills. So I
Hmm.
was could pay a little more than minimum on some until I was able to pay off practically all of the credit cards and uh, debts and stuff that I owed. Um, and so now I don't have that pressure of those bills, those debts, looking at me every month, taking my
Right.
money and sucking everything up. And so I had to start where I was, and where I was taking what, if it wasn't but $20 or $30 extra, and applying it to that one until I got it paid off,
Hmm.
and then applying that to the next one. And it just helps motivate you. You feel good when you can look and you said, I have 5 credit cards, but uh, I don't have a due balance on them. They're there, or they're paid off. That's a good feeling, not to have to work hard as we do and then apply everything to debt. So yeah, I got
Right.
intentional with that. I got
Right.
intentional with it. And we're like that even when it comes to the medical bills. That's one of the things that we also, with a poverty mindset, we neglect those medical bills. We're thinking it's not important. But do you see how ridiculous healthcare and insurance and all that is now? It is a
Yes.
result of the damage that we have created. I honestly believe that because um, there's debt. You know,
Hmm.
we need health care. There is no way around it. But if we don't get intentional with tackling some of these uh, old health care debts that we have, we're doing ourselves a disservice in the long run. So,
That is so true. That is so true. And yes, like you said, pay that extra. Don't just pay the minimum balance. Even if it's $5, $10 extra, whatever debt you're focusing on paying off first, just add it on there. Because a lot of, like, if you get a credit card bill, and it amazes me, they'll show you a comparison of this is your minimum balance. If you only pay the minimum balance, this is how long it's going to take you to pay this off, and this is how much more you're going to pay
Absolutely.
in interest. And then it's also another line that will show you if you pay this much above the minimum balance, which usually isn't that much, it'll show you how the decrease in time that you will be able to pay off the debt and not pay as much interest to the banks, because that's how they make their money.
Absolutely.
So it's like, yeah, sure, you can swipe this card and just keep swiping it, and we'll let you buy now and pay later. But the way that they make their money is by you not paying off that balance in full each month. You continue to build on top of that balance and build on top of the balance and only pay the minimum. And they get money from the interest that you're paying.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, prioritize your debt. Put it, first you got to look at it. In order to be able to prioritize it, you got to face it. We talked about facing fears a few episodes ago, but write it down, figure out which one you want to tackle first, and just say, okay, I'm going to bypass that trip to the drive-through once or twice a week so that I can, put that money on that bill and go ahead and get that paid off sooner.
Hey, that's a win-win, not only for your finances, but for your health too.
Mm-hmm. You're right. You're right.
All right. So, for those of you that are just joining us, you're listening to the Money and Mindset podcast with
Sheryka Alford.
and Anntricia Bray-Smith, where we're here talking today about 7 ways to improve your financial health. We've talked about the practice of gratitude, getting organized and paying your bills on time, pulling those credit reports, prioritize debt payoff, and pay more than just a minimum balance. And now we're up to number 5.
Ooh, we might want to park here for a second. Number 5 is confirm that you have the appropriate insurance and make sure that you have updated beneficiary information on your existing policies and or accounts. Um,
We ain't even talking about that today, okay?
so basically, real high level, because quite honestly, with insurance, we're going to have to dedicate an entire episode or two, or maybe 3.
Yeah, we're writing that down right now. So y'all get ready, you insurance professionals. Oh, you coming on? We gonna we gonna talk about this.
Yes. So basically, insurance, it's about risk management, and it's a means of protecting you from financial loss. And you notice I said appropriate insurance, and that's appropriate for you because with insurance, there are so many different types of insurance products available, and just so many. And there are some people, so many different people that will sell you anything that you're willing to pay for. And so that's why I say you want to be when it comes to insurance, you want to be an informed consumer and make sure whatever it is that you decide to purchase for your benefit and the benefit of your family, make sure it's something that you need and it's a right fit for you.
Hey, let's get to these updating beneficiary. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you've gone through, so if you have an existing insurance policy of any type or a bank account, because usually whenever you open up accounts or get insurance policies, there's a section that says, okay, who do you want to put on here as your beneficiary? Basically, um, if something were to happen to you and you pass on, who are you leaving your money to? And at what percentage, because they usually have a primary beneficiary, and then they also have secondary beneficiaries that you could maybe do like 50-50 if you have kids or however way you split it up. But if you haven't checked to see who you have listed as your beneficiary on your bank account policies or your retirement policies or insurance policies.
You
Please
still
do.
got John Ray on it from 1956. John Ray, Billy Ray, Callie Ray. Yeah, guys, if she didn't hit a sore spot right here, yes, I don't care what insurance it is. If it's got a beneficiary listed, let's begin to get intentional and go and look and see who we have on these policies. It's nothing worse than for mama to die or daddy to die and they have ex Boon Coon, Jim Bob, Billy Bob uh, as a beneficiary. Kids stuck paying for the funeral and expenses and stuff, and Billy Bob, who we ain't seen in 40 years, got all the money. Come on now. That's some I didn't know it was that serious, but hey, experiencing this firsthand, oh yeah. Um, yeah. So let's confirm that. Let's go look at that. And don't have 15, 16 different policies in your kids. At least the people who there to help making sure things are going well or not benefiting from it in the event that there's an issue that occurs that we can't control. So yeah, I'm all for that. Hey, one thing about it, those exes and all that, they come and go. You may have dead people as beneficiary on your policies. That has occurred as well, you know. So something to look at. If you
Yeah.
have more than one child, you know, you can split that money that way, like she said. But you don't want it to be misused. You want to put it in a responsible hand, whatever that looks like. I think that's also important, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
want it in responsible hands. So yeah.
Yes. And also, regardless of the type of coverage that you choose to purchase, make sure you ask questions. Don't just sign on the dotted line. Ask your agent questions. Previously, I worked in the property claims office for auto claims. And unfortunately, I spent a good part of the 10 years there calling people and informing them that, unfortunately, I'm sorry, you do not have the coverage on your policy to cover said claim.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they would say is, oh my goodness, why? I thought I had full coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, please hear me out. There is no such thing as full coverage. If there were, I don't think any of us could afford it. So please, whenever you're working with any type of insurance agent or broker or whomever, have them to line out for you what exactly is covered and what you're purchasing. And if you have question about a specific coverage, ask them about that because it may be something that's available, but for an additional charge as an extension to your policy. So please make sure that's cleared up.
Absolutely. Let's move on because I'm getting emotional ties.
All right, and now we are on to number 6. Create a spending plan and track your spending. So, creating a spending plan and tracking your spending. Now, earlier, Anntricia had mentioned not having enough money to make ends meet. Well, one benefit to creating a spending plan and actually tracking your spending, it helps us to identify if the problem is we truly do not have enough income coming in to meet our needs, or if it's more of a management problem. So, in order for you to identify if there are areas in which you can reduce your spending or completely eliminate, we first have to go through the exercise of actually tracking this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, the best thing that I did was and you can see I've used it as it's worn here, is I got this little tracker from the Dollar General store. So from the Dollar General store, I went and picked one of these up, and it helps track your spending from every month. And so when I first got intentional with this, yeah, there were places where it asked me about my financial goals. So it helped me also track the income I was bringing in every month. And the summary spending, I had to get intentional. So that means I was keeping receipts, bringing it home, writing it down in my book. What that also made me accountable for is not going to the store making these unnecessary purchases, because I didn't want to
Right.
have to come home and put it in my book. The good thing I like about these books is that when you get it, um, it's not already pre-filled for you. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever month you start, that's the month you fill in and begin to track your monthly budget and your expenses and your spending habits. You track it. Here it is. You can give an account for where your money is coming in from and where it's leaving out. And I guarantee you, you're not going to want to see every penny of your money leaving out as soon as you get it in. Because when you actually look at it, it does have emotional ties to it. And,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do a little better with making better decisions on where your money is being spent out, if
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah. Because I think we've all been guilty of, well, I don't shop that much. I don't really buy. I just every now and then go into the Dollar Tree, or I just go. And let me tell you, all of those justices, they add
Mm-hmm.
up.
Absolutely. Look, absolutely. It's just $1 until you got 30 things in your basket. So now that just $1.
It's just
Now looks
$30
like
plus
33.
tax.
Okay, yeah. Now 33 because you got 10 cents on $1 tax. Come on now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and at first, I will admit, it seems tedious, but now there are so many different methods that you can use for tracking your spending, whether it be like and Trish pointed out, a book, or you could use a notebook, pen and paper. There are different apps available. You know, if you're a tech person, there are apps available. Or if you're like me, you can just use an Excel spreadsheet and customize it the way that works for you. But regardless of which method you choose, the method that's going to be best for you is the one that you're going to stick to. So figure out a method for creating your spending plan and start tracking your spending.
All right, as we're wrapping these 7 ways to improve financial health up, number 7, cancel unused subscriptions and reduce services where possible. And I hit a little bit on
Hmm.
this earlier.
Yes, you did.
And so it being that we're revisiting this in a bullet point by itself, oh yeah, you better believe it's important. So cancel unused subscriptions and reduce services where possible. Now, uh, they're saying subscriptions and things like that, but guys, that also includes our certifications, our licenses, professional things uh, that we're giving our money to that's adding no value to us,
Hmm.
like being a part of uh, an organization or a professional teachers organization or something like that. If there's no added benefit to that on the return side, then why are we giving our money away to organizations like this? Now, if you have a nursing license or a teacher's license or something like that, yes, we need this. But think about some of the professional ties and alliances that we have that we're giving our money to, and we're keeping them fed, and they're not adding benefit to what we do and to our purpose. So we need to look at that as well.
Right. And as far as reducing the cost um, of services that you use, such as say insurance or cell phone services, let me just tell you, people are not providers are not going to call you and say, hey, guess what, we see that you're paying this amount of money, but if you switch to this plan, you'll just pay this. They're not going to do that. It's in your best interest. No one's going to have more of a vested interest to look after your finances more so than you. So reach out and call your insurance agent and say, hey, um, this, you see what I'm currently paying. Are there any other offers elsewhere? Another means that I can keep the same type coverage and not pay as much. Call them and ask them, because that's what I did. I called my insurance agent, and they work with different insurance companies, and he did a comparison and found out, hey, if you switch, you can save this much. And I'm like, hey, guess what? We're switching. It's just that sometimes we get so accustomed to, this is the company that I've always used, and we just keep using because that's just what we've always done. But trust me, you can save a lot of money by reaching out and finding different companies that provide the same level of service, if not better, for a less expensive price.
No difference than cable, no difference than phone service,
Mm-hmm.
things that we just feel like we have to have. There's someone offering that same plan. You can keep that same number, and you only be paying fraction of a cost. So let's think about that, guys. So we're going to wrap this portion of today's topic up, 7 ways to improve your financial health. But we have more tips that we are going to continue in our next broadcast. So if you've enjoyed it so far, don't forget, we'll be right back here next time for you to join us as we continue with 7 more ways to improve your financial health. Until then, I am Anntricia Bray-Smith, and she is
Sheryka Alford, and thank you for joining us, and be sure to subscribe and leave us a review.
absolutely Money and Mindset, 7 ways to improve your financial health.